Welcome to my world. The new extension to my workshop is almost complete. Even though there are still a few jobs to do, I started moving things around. The extension to the workshop is actually built onto the house, so it has central heating. Today I've been quite busy transferring things from the workshop ready to be placed in the extension. But there's still a bit of work to do at the back of the worktops, and that's why temporarily a few of the things are sat on the kitchen table. If you're one of my kind Patreon supporters, or if you frequently watch the public videos, you will recognise some of these things on the table. In the foreground is the twin-cylinder Stuart 5A that I've been working on recently. While I'm in the kitchen, I'll just pan the camera around and look at some interesting things. In front of the fireplace is a Marshall 4x12 cabinet, and this thing on the top is not an amplifier, it's a key holder. And I just think it looked quite amusing sat on top of the 4x12 cabinet. On the mantelpiece over the fireplace is a 3.5-inch gauge Stevenson's rocket. This is a Hornby Stevenson's rocket, and I never found them to be much good. Above the Stevenson's rocket is an original painting by a man called Kevin Walker. I bought this from Kevin way back in 1987. He later worked for the Marvel Company, and if you'd like to know more, all you need to do is type Kev Walker into Google. His work is quite amazing and well worth a look. Moving to the left on the windowsill in a glass cabinet or an acrylic cabinet is an OS 5-inch gauge Stevenson's rocket. This is an absolute thing of beauty, made by the Japanese company OS, who are probably more well known for making model aircraft engines. But they also make superb live steam locomotives. On top of the acrylic case are various bits and pieces. These are some things from my childhood that I've rebought over the years. That is, apart from the set of lights for my beard at Christmas time. There are some things of interest on top of the fridge. A Thunder Tiger Nautilus yellow submarine, an old Bush radio. In the box at the back is a thing called a steam indicator for setting up full-size live steam engines. At the other side of the kitchen, through a door, is the utility room, and in here, once again, I keep things that shouldn't be in here, like a model aeroplane. I have to do this because some customers leave things with me for long periods of time, and that's one of the reasons for building an extension. I have to find some way of storing this stuff that's left by customers, although in this video most of the things you see belong to me. I'm part way through decorating the kitchen. I'll show you through into the extension. Here it is. It's not very big at 5.1 metres by 2 metres, but it's going to revolutionise my work. This is a very well made 5-inch gauge Stirling single locomotive. The riveting on the tender has to be seen to be believed, but it needs finishing. I made a few videos called My Stirling Single where I show the work so far, but there's a lot more to do, and it's more convenient to do it just off the kitchen rather than power up the workshop, turn on the heating, and the video lighting, etc. The lighting in this room is more than adequate. When I open the door in the extension through into the kitchen, you get the idea of the layout. The door to the extension is directly opposite the fireplace. There's still a way to go, but now I have more space in the workshop. This boiler is ready to take down to the house, and this vintage steamboat which was sat on the floor is now where the Stirling single locomotive was. As I was moving things around in the workshop, I came across an old Stuart 5A crankshaft, and when I fitted it in the chuck of my Myford lathe, it looked okay, but it's not. The metal is pitted and worn, and the whole assembly is loose. It's very badly pinned together. This is something that, in my opinion, is suitable for the scrap bin, because by the time I've repaired this, I could make a brand new one a lot better than this. Although after showing how bad it is, I really could not put it in the scrap bin. You never know, it may come in useful one day for some job or other. In a previous video I showed these two check valves, and this is the one for my traction engine that I'm going to reuse. With the video in reverse, here's the part coming out of the acid bath. And here it is sat on the bench alongside the pipe that I made to go from the injector to the main feed to the check valve on the boiler of my big Showman's engine. I need to modify the pipe from the injector to connect to this, because it uses commercial pipe fittings, which are not the same as the ones I use. Here I'm drilling out the centre of the union nut 7/16 of an inch. in order to make it suitable for the type of pipe I'm using. And before any viewers write in, yes, I am aware that on the previous clip the nut wasn't fully in the centre of the chuck, but it doesn't matter for this job. Here you get the idea of what I've been doing. I silver soldered the part, and this is what it now looks like after I quenched it in water, and now it's suspended in my acid bath to clean it up. I thought it would be a good idea to paint this part using etching primer. Brass is difficult to paint at the best of times, and even if you use etching primer it will chip off. But I do find that this stuff that I buy from a company in the UK called Auto Paint Northern to be possibly the best etching primer I've ever used. It's also a high build type of primer, so you can brush paint it as well. The usual standard grey primer doesn't stick well to brass at all, but this stuff does. It's great to use. Before I finish this video, I would just like to let my Patreon supporters know that there will be some gaps in the videos. This is not going to be permanent, but I do actually have some serious health issues that need hospitalisation, so I may be out of action for a couple of weeks. Because of the extension workshop being in the house, I should be able to go back to doing some work, but I won't know how quickly I'll be able to get back to work until I've had the procedure done, and I can't say I'm looking forward to it. Apart from my type 2 diabetes, I have got to 69 years of age without any problems, but currently part of my system is malfunctioning and needs some urgent attention. The good news is that if I receive bad news about my health condition, I'll make a good video series about it to the end when I go to meet my maker. But for the moment, looking on the bright side, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.